Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point on our family and our mother station focus on Liberia. Today we have a special guest, our friend and brother, Mr. Phillip Suah, will be our guest. He's here to defend and clarify some issues on the Liberty Party. Today is exclusively set aside for Liberty Party, exclusive on everything about Liberty Party. And with me is my able host, co-host, from across the water. My brother, how you doing there? And introduce yourself. I'm not talking to you, Mr. Swat. This young man, I don't know. I don't know where he's from, but he looks familiar. His name is George Tulay. Go ahead, Tulay.
Point of correction. I'm not from across the water. I live above you. That's just it. I live north of the 44th. I live north of the 44th parallel. So I'm just above you. We live in the same landmarks. Anyway, welcome all of you to On Point, on Focus on Africa, Focus on Liberia. Like Mr. Gateman said, we are glad to be here again on this Sunday. And we have with us today Mr. Phillip Suah Jr. And he is somebody who is not a stranger to me, but I will introduce him. He's the National Vice Chairman for International and Diaspora Affairs of the Liberty Party. And so today we're going to be, like Mr. Gateman said, speaking exclusively about Liberty Party. And to the tail end, we will talk about other things like Liberia. We all know Liberty Party has been in the news and for some very not too, good reasons in the past couple of months. And we want to throw light on these things. And that's why Mr. Suah is here with us today. So we want to welcome Mr. Suah, but I'll hand it back to Mr. Gateman and he can go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Swat, for those of us who have not seen you or know you, could you introduce yourself? What is it you do for a living? Where part of Liberia are you from and how you got involved with the Liberty Party?
All right, thank you, Jerome. So I live in Houston, Texas. I have been in this country since '97. So I lived through the war and left the country January 11th, '97. Came to the States for school, and I have remained here since. I lived a good portion of my time here in the States in California, and moved to Houston, Texas, about 8-9 years ago when my company relocated me here. So I spent all of my time in Liberia, in Monrovia. Born and raised out there. Lived early part of my life behind City Hall. My parents lived out there. We also lived in Barnesville Estate. From around maybe 79 till 88 when we moved ELW Road. And then so lived through the war, and then lived up on Snapper Hill from about 92 to when I left Liberia in 97. I've worked for the same employer 19 years. It'll be 20 years in January here in the States. I work in the energy industry. Energy, meaning all types of energy, not just oil and gas. But so that's what I've been doing. I currently serve as an emergency management advisor for my employer, and that's what I've done for a few years. I've worked in a variety of roles for this company, mainly in health, safety, and environment positions. Started from as low as you can get, and I'm still low, but I think I'm a little better than where I was 19 years ago.
Thank you. Now the name Suah, where does that name originate?
So my parents are from both different parts of the country. My father is from Blade, which is right behind Yikipa. My mom is from Grand Crew, and so I have parents on both sides.
The reason I'm asking the question is the opposition tried to pin the Liberty Party as a bastard party, that it is a party that is We can't win anything. Well, I shouldn't say we. Liberty Party can't win anything because
No, yes, supposed to
it's,
be some.
it's a biased party. So it behooves us to let the world know that Liberty Party is a conglomeration of ideas and people from all around the country. So they tag that they just want to paint Liberty Party as a biased party. I do that too because I'm a CDCN and I love to play the propaganda piece. But at times you have to be fair to the opposition to actually, because we need a vibrant opposition.
Correct.
We do not need one party state. That's something that I would fight and die for, that we should never see that again. And the CDC should not do all, they should do all they can to win, but not to kill the opposition. So this is what I'm saying. This notion that Liberty Party is strictly a bias of people party is not fair. And I'm glad that you brought it up. Now tell her, what is it that you want to know that we should know that we don't know about the Liberty Party?
Well, I think, over the last several months, our party has been in the news in ways that were different from what we're accustomed to, right? Liberty Party has always been a party of ideas. We've always promoted policies. That's how we were trained, listening and understanding how the late Councilor Brumskin, may so rest in peace, how he conducted himself, how he put forth ideas that he believed would change the trajectory of the country. So that's how we were trained. Most of us who sat at his feet, who interacted with him, our mindset had always been focused on the policies. What can we do differently? How can we work with the government, right, to improve? So some of our critiques, some of the things that we would put forward, even if it's critical of the government, the intention is to get the government's attention so that things could change for the average Liberian. So I think over the last few months, our disposition as a party has been different, largely because we are faced with a situation that's not only, brought to us by folks within our party, but we have external sources, right? Wanting the support of Liberty Party, reaching out to partisans and networking within the framework of the collaboration, which is all good. I think where we could have done better is how some of our partisans reacted or are reacting to this pressure that's been exerted on the party from both our colleagues on the Unity Party side and the ANC side. But those are all things that we're growing, right? Growing from. I don't, most of what I've seen in our Liberian culture is we do not like to accept the fact that we're not perfect, right? No one's perfect. No individual is perfect. So why should we expect perfection from people? I believe leadership is more of the journey towards excellence. So it's not a journey towards perfection, but towards excellence. So you continue to improve. If there are issues in your life or in your party that's not right, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that, right? Liberty Party currently has a serious issue, not in terms of, how the future of our party would look. No, we have an issue because we have a decision to make, and we're still trying to figure out how best to make that decision while staying true to the values of our party. And that should be acceptable to some extent. Now, I do have some strong opinions against, some of what has transpired in our party when it comes to disrespect for what I term as disrespect for the leadership or the structure of the party, right? So last week, last week? Yeah, I think last week on the 27th, when we had our colleagues from the ANC, right, welcoming Honorable Cummings at our party headquarters. I mean, we should, as collaboration partners, we should share our resources, share, whatever we can with our counterparts. What I disagree with strongly was the fact that program was held without proper notification to the political leader of the party. That that annoyed me, right? I was extremely, extremely upset that we would carry out such activities without the acknowledgement from the political leader. Now, the political leader is not a dictator. That role is not a dictatorship role. But that role in our Constitution is the role that's been designated as the leader of the party. Okay, that's what our Constitution states. Now, if we are to have a program on the party's headquarters or at the party's headquarters, the very least that anyone can do is to seek the consultation of the political leader of the party. The party has one leader, and that's the political leader. And so
let me push back a little bit, because you and I, we are in the United States, and I noticed that you are not quoting the article in your Constitution that says that, because what you are telling me here, what we are listening to here is, if the political leader is the sole guarantor or a person that approves everything.
That's not what I said. No. That's not what I said.
No. What you are saying that is, you said it did not get the approval.
No.
Of
I
the
said
political leader.
No, consultation. Consultation. They did not get the consultation, not approval. No one contacted the political leader. No one provided any information to the political leader that such a thing was happening. And I'll give you, my experience with it personally. So I sit on the executive committee of the party as well, right? So this event that was planned, and I believe it was planned in advance, right? It didn't happen in a vacuum. I didn't hear of this event. I heard rumors of it on that Friday, which would have been the 22nd. It's Friday, the 22nd. I heard rumors. So then you start asking questions. What is this program that's being held at the party headquarters? Who knows about it? Didn't get any answer. Saturday morning, the 23rd, I got an invite from the Secretary General of the party stating, hey, there will be a meeting on Monday, the 25th. And I'll try to pull up the invite. It said something to the effect of on the use of the party headquarters, right? We need to meet on the use of the party headquarters. It didn't state ANC, and no other information was available. So we get on the call on the 25th of the month of October, and then we have the proceeding. Okay, this is what we're doing. We're trying to know. And so I had to pause and say, look, well, what are we voting on? All right, because the chairman sat on that meeting and said, hey, we're about to vote on the use of, the party headquarters. And up to that time, I had no clue. I'd heard rumors, but I didn't hear any official knowledge or information that, hey, ANC has requested the use of the party's headquarters. So the chairman was able to provide some background information on all of this for the first time to me on Monday, the 25th, 2 days before the program. And so I asked, when did ANC request the party's headquarters? And the chairman at that time, he said Wednesday or Thursday. All right, he didn't give me
Mr. Suah, let me ask you a question. Yeah. In some of the papers circulated by the chairman of the party, they said that they informed the political leader through a written communication prior to that time.
That is not true, because I listened to who's they, first of all.
He's saying that his office, and I'm very sure it's Martin Sekula. He and Martin Sekula.
That's not true. It can't be true, because the chairman was on a different program stating quite the opposite, right? He did not notify the political leader. As a matter of fact, on that particular program, he mentioned specifically that he was in charge of the party because the political leader had traveled, and he was not obligated to, wait or confer with someone who was out of the country.
Mr. Suah, to a point of correction here, give me the internal working channels of communication, of leadership, responsibility, because when I have run a larger organization like the ACLU, I was president of ACLU for 4 years, or vice president for 3 years. I've also run the Chamber of Commerce, and as a CEO, my responsibility spelled out in our Constitution is that the day-to-day activity, the day-to-day running of the organization is my responsibility. The fiduciary responsibility is my board of directors and my board of advisory. The board of directors is the higher ranking, and then the board of advisory. I have, when it comes to the administrative piece, the hall, the building, the meetings, the identifications of where, how many staff I need, the funding, all of these things are my responsibility. And then I forward it. Once it is approved, the annual report or my budget or my fiscal calendar is set. I run the day-to-day activities of the organization. I do not call my board of directors. I do not call the chairman of my board to say I am having a Christmas party or I am having a Thanksgiving party or the Boys and Girls Club are going to use our facility. That is not what the board of directors or the leader of the chairman of the board does. That is the responsibility of the administrator. In your case, you're not quoting to me a particular violation or particular item in your constitution that says the administrator of the organization has to have or consult with the leader, because when you consult, there are two things that can happen. You have to consult for approval, you can consult, or you can inform. I can call my chairman of the board and say, I am going to have a Christmas party. We have budgeted for 300 folks, but I intend to do 500.
I get your point.
Okay, Mr. Gamer, before
go ahead.
Before Phillip comes in,
you can answer that.
It's different, all right. Running, well established in other terms. I'm not saying Liberty Party is not established, but Liberty Party is a political entity. It's not a social economic entity. It's not an NGO, like in the case of the ACLU. ACLU is an NGO. So as a result, the same rules do not really apply. This is a political, and then mind you, before Phillip comes in, what we also need to look at before Phillip comes in quickly is the fact that there are things that have been under contention in Liberty Party. That is the point that we must acknowledge. And these things have not been clear. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're right, Tulay. So that was my point, right? The political leader has to be consulted when anything impacts the truth.
Yeah, but what part of the Constitution says that?
That's what I'm trying to tell you now. Anything that impacts the strategic direction of the party, the political leader needs to be consulted. This move on behalf of Mr. Cummings to host to host his welcoming could have been framed in a way where the political leader was consulted. I don't think she would have had reservations, but what it does is it allows us as a party, as an institution, to package the information to our partisans. Remember, there are people who don't support Mr. Cummings. They're in Liberty Party. There are people who don't support Mr. Boycott. They're in Liberty Party. If you give the perception that Liberty Party has already made a decision, or Liberty Party is already going in one direction by these moves, you alienate the other partisans who feel left out. Now, if that happens, that impacts our party. So at a very minimum, the political leader needs to be engaged. And now you talk, Jerome, about where in the Constitution. Even for me, I'm telling you now, as an executive committee member, I did not know about this program until Monday, 2 days before the program. Now, mind you, the ANC posted that they had sent Liberty Party a formal request on October 7th. Okay? Formal request. So the institution that is ANC formally wrote the party and requested the party's headquarters. At that time, the political leader was still in Liberia. She had not traveled. Political leader did not travel until October 21st. So between October 7th, the date that was on the request from ANC to October 21st, no, at least for me, I wasn't aware of it. The political leader has said it because I called her to verify she was not aware of it. And to date, she still has not been formally notified of that event. The chairman has not done so. To me, that's disrespect for the office of the political leader. That's disrespect for the institution. Also, there's an agenda, a meeting agenda that allegedly occurred on October 19th between Liberty Party and ANC, planning this event, right? And how can you plan an event or have an agenda for an event planning a meeting on the 19th, and you don't consult the executive committee that is supposed to give you the authority to even approve, right, of the request. So we did not know about it until the 25th. And you haven't planned a meeting for this event on the 19th. Now, Jerome, you tell me, there's no way they could have planned, ANC would plan that event starting Monday. And then Mr. Cummings arrived on Wednesday. Now, I'm not opposed to ANC or Mr. Cummings. That's not my argument. And I forgot to lay this foundation, because sometimes when you present arguments, that are objective, people try to put you in one basket. I have no problem with the standard bearer Cummings. I would support it, because I believe Mr. Cummings will be a better president than Mr. Weah. I have no opposition to Standard Bearer Joseph Boyka, because I believe he would be a better president than Mr. Weah. That's just me as an individual. So I have no issue with either of the two candidates running for office.
Yeah,
what I do have an issue with is if the drive for standard bearership or the presidency negatively impacts the Labour Party, that's where I draw the line. And this move that the chairman promoted, to me, was very bad. It exhibited poor leadership, because he not only, look, if this was an error, if the chairman had come out afterwards and said, look, I made an error, I forgot, things happen, no big deal. Okay, we all make mistakes. People make mistakes. But to be intransigent in wrongdoing, to me, that's where I have a problem.
Well, Mr. Suah, not to cut you off, but you still have not given me the violation that this man did. If you have an internal control and somebody violated that clause or the rule, you will state to me that this man has violated rule XYZ for which he should be held accountable. But as far as you are concerned, you are talking about style, leadership style. In the past, you have consulted maybe Bronsky because he had the overarching power and authority over the political party. So the administrator will consult with him. But you have a different leadership style here that is independent and very innovative. He chooses not to work within the framework of the past, but to work within a different managerial style, which is self-control, innovative, and all of that. Now, you have not told me what rule or article that was violated by the new leadership here. And secondly, if you are in a partnership, okay, if you were in a partnership, you agree 4 political parties to come together as one to be partners. Why should somebody who wants to use either one of your event facilities that you all work to promote, why should somebody do a special request? Does that form exist? Was that rule laid out?
It's not a special request, Jerome. It's not a special request, right? So if President Weah leaves Liberia and leaves the Minister of Information in charge of the country temporarily, right? Because he's traveling. He leaves someone in office. Does that give the Minister of Education the right now to start inviting President Suah from Guinea-Bissau to come to Liberia to have a meeting, to start doing things because the president of Liberia has left him in charge? No. In the absence of the political leader, one second, if the political leader leaves the country, all right, or is incapacitated, the chairman of the party can make decision. The key there is incapacitated. It doesn't stop you from communicating. In this case, the request from ANC came October 7th, okay? The party received a formal communication October 7th. What would you do in such a case? You have a party now that's struggling with making a decision, right? Because our partisans are some partisans are supporting, one way or another. So we're trying to figure this thing out internally. And then you go and host the head of another institution without notifying the political leader. She's unaware. One of the things you learn in like you mentioned, you've been in organizations. You don't want to blindside your leader. We all work for bosses.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Suah, because this comes to the crux of the matter. The issue here is what is the position of the political leader in Liberia? Because in Liberty Party, because we want to go back a little, because Mr. Gaiman, he mentioned sub. What are her responsibility with the party? Because one thing I want to clarify before Phillip comes in, it was the partisans of Liberty Party that gave Charles Bromsky the authority that he had.
Correct.
We were the one that came in the party because I want to speak at that time. At this time, at the moment, I would speak as somebody who was one of his proteges. We gave him the right to call the shots because we knew whatever shot he called then was within the best interest of the collective. So we knew that he was our leader, and we also subscribed to his ideology. Now, when Bromsky was exiting the stage, he did this, he did that. Philip, let me ask you a question. What is the function of the political leader of Liberty Party constitutionally, vis-a-vis the conflict that we now know in Liberty Party with respect to the allegations that the constitution that is at neck is under review, is under question? Can you speak to that?
Well, the political leader, I mean, historically, constitutionally, the political leader is the leader of the party. That's the reason why the chairman.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? You're a lead. You set the strategic objectives of the party. You set the vision of the party along with the core of officers. That's the role of the political leader historically and by constitution. The reason why Ms. Ability can say if the political leader leaves, I come in as deputy, by itself tells you who the leader of the party is. I don't need to tell you that.
No, but I don't want you to go any further because I want you to please refer me to the Constitution. The job response, we talk about job description here. We talk about the administrative arm of the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. You are talking
Article
about
6.
the Queen,
Article 6
you're
tells
talking
you
about the Queen of London, or Queen of England, and the Prime Minister. Who runs the day-to-day activities of the nation or of this party? According to your Constitution,
the day-to-day activities are run by the chairman.
So he's the administrator.
Well, part of, if you look at Article 6 of our Constitution, right, it states, one of the bullet points states that the national chairman's responsibility is to carry out the activities of the political leader, right? So that there's no question of who the leader of the party is.
So is that still within
that is still within the Constitution?
That's still within the current Constitution at neck.
Yeah, it's still within the Constitution that part of the role of the national chairman is to carry out the activities of the standard bearer of the political leader. Okay, so I don't think our chairman questions that. I don't think he questions who the leader of the party is. Jerome seemed to be questioning something that even our chairman doesn't question, right? Our chairman recognizes the internal structure of the party. It is the political leader who sets the strategic objectives, the vision of the party, and the national chairman works in concert with the political leader to carry out and implement the operational aspect of that vision. Okay, doesn't make the political leader a dictator. It doesn't make and Senator Lawrence has never been. She's never exhibited attributes of that. Not in my experience with her. But if you have to make decisions that are critical to the party, what's wrong with consulting the person who is the leader of the party?
But this is what we are talking about. We are talking about substance or style over substance, or
it's
substance
not
over style. No. Yes, because the Constitution does not mandate that as the administrator of the political party, you have to get approval from the leader. It doesn't say that. If it says that, put it on the board so we can read it. Mr. Sia, do you have that article? You said what? Article 6?
Yeah.
Do we have the Constitution of Liberty Party here that we can all look at, we in the audience?
Jerome, I think what you're mistaking, like you keep mistaking, say approval. I did not allude to anything that says you need to go to the political leader for approval. So that
I'm a part of this conversation, right? Yeah. It's not just an interview, but it's also a conversation.
Sure.
And the reality here is very, very clear. And we asked Philip the question, and when especially when it comes to the Liberty Party and things are being said, I think the honor is on me to speak out. We are asking questions to Philip, and let's be honest and let's be fair in our questions, because the reality here is this: what Jerome is alluding to is, if the changes in the Constitution that Musa acts on, there are two things I want to state here. If the changes in the Constitution that Musa acts on, okay, were something that was without contest, there was no contestation of those provisions within the Constitution, then we can say, bravo, Musa, you are free. But the first thing we must acknowledge here is that everything that Musa acts on are under contention. They are contentious issue. There is the political leader is saying, you change these things to give you carte blanche to be able to run the function of the party without reference to anything else. But let me ask you a question, Sonny. What is the role of the executive committee in all of this? Does Musa have any reference to the executive committee, or he has, like I mentioned earlier, carte blanche, free will to do whatever?
No, and that's another contention I have with the chairman, and I've written the chairman. Okay, so I'm not, you shouldn't be hearing this for the first time. I've expressed my disagreements with the chairman, the way he has led the party in some of these decision-making process. So one of them that I've noticed and I've written him about is the use of the executive committee when he writes press statements or he makes announcements. The executive committee is made up of 31 roles. That's what's in the Constitution. All right. So if you speak as a chairman, let it be that your signature or whatever at the bottom of the thing states National Chairman of Liberty Party. Okay, that will be acceptable. The chairman has the right to speak, whether we agree with it as a party, but he's speaking as an individual. If he is going to publish a statement or take actions that references the National Executive Committee, the 31-member National Executive Committee, he must have gotten the approval of that 31-member body. You cannot write a statement in your person, in your context, in your frame of mind, and then just put at the bottom National Executive Committee, because it misrepresents the committee to the public. And that is what has transpired, giving a false impression that all of the National Executive Committee have signed up, or majority of the Executive Committee have signed up to statements. And as far as I know, I haven't been in meetings where we have discussed some of the statements that I've seen online or on social media. I've seen them there for the first time.
Okay, Mr. Suah, real quick.
Sure.
I saw a note here, and it came from a member of your executive committee that she sent to me, and that was Wede Power. Wede Power told me that you are right, that there are 31 members of the executive committee. The suspension of Dylan, there was a meeting held, executive committee meeting held, where 24 members attended, present. And 18 of the 24 voted to suspend Dylan and his partner for 6 months. The political leader, without consultation, without consulting the Constitution, wrote a counter letter and published it, and saying that whatever the administrator, the chairman of the party did, and the executive committee, they were null and void, and she had reversed.
So
public should I
got it.
Why you can't ask Phillip to give you his version of that story that you
exactly. So let me give the version. So now, so the first
but answer the question. What was there an executive committee vote where it were 18 or the 24 that suspended Darius Dylan?
Let me explain the number first, and I'll get to that. So first off, the chairman has quoted the executive committee to be so many different numbers, right? Which is inaccurate. And I'm glad Wade confirms that we're 31. Because in statements, the chairman has stated 27 and he has stated 24. I have a note here that the chairman had a public statement that he wrote where the calculations on the numbers on the executive committee is a sliding scale, right? It's not true. First, the executive committee, the way the Constitution, the Liberty Party Constitution is written, that 31-member executive committee, in order to establish quorum, you need to have half of the executive committee. So at least you would say 15 persons, right, to develop quorum for a meeting of the executive committee, right? And then the majority of that number would carry the weight of the executive committee, those who attend meeting. Now, the meeting you referenced, right, that Wade referred to, I got an invitation to that meeting 2 hours before the meeting. I woke up and boom, we're meeting in 2 hours. I can't attend, right? So this is some of the issues we've had, and I've expressed this to our chairman, that one, there should be a regular cadence for meeting, right? the decision on suspension, and I'm going to come to why I have some disagreements with it. The decision to suspend a member of the party is not one that can be done as an emergency. Okay, you can't just say it's an emergency so you have a meeting. Those things have to be planned out. Now, the issue of suspension, the party's constitution states that before you suspend or expel an individual within the Liberty Party, you must consult the National Advisory Council, right? That's an 11-member committee. And the purpose of that is to ensure some sort of check and balance. Now, the Advisory Council's decision is not binding, but it gives the party another layer of consultation so that when you make decisions, you have enough stakeholders who will say, look, maybe we don't need to go this route. Maybe this is an alternative. And that advisory council is made up of some eminent partisans, people who have been with the party for a long time.
Mr. Suah, you are not answering my question.
Yeah, I'm coming to answer your question.
No, you said there are 31 executive committee members.
Correct.
24 of the 31 met, and 18 out of the 24 suspended.
But that's what I'm telling you now.
And you are telling me that they should consult, but your constitution doesn't say consult mean consent.
No, it's hold on.
I mean, just address that.
No.
If you didn't attend, you were one of the 7 that didn't attend, but 24 attended. Okay, no matter how that may have been, 24 of the 31 attended. That purely majority there. And
I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't in the meeting. I did not.
So the report that we got is 18 out of 24 voted to suspend these folks.
Okay,
the political leader.
So let me give you a couple other things to this process, right? Mm-hmm. So the way the process works, right? So 1, you're supposed to consult the advisory council. That wasn't done, right? 2, you have a committee that investigates, right? So if you, Jerome, have a complaint against me, you bring it to the executive committee. They give it to this committee, the CPIC. So a committee of, I think, 4 individuals who will look into the case and investigate. So this committee investigated the case, and came up with their findings. Do you know that the 4 members who investigated also voted? That should not be happening. That's not democratic, right? You cannot go investigate a case, come up with a judgment, and then vote in the same case. The person who complained against Senator Dillon. Hold on.
No. You are not telling me that you are not telling me what article in your constitution or your bylaw that these people, you see, you have not quoted any violation. Okay. You are only saying they should consult. But
the constitution, that's what I'm consent.
Consent and consult are totally different. Consult me, I can tell you anything. I can.
Yeah, but you didn't follow that process.
It's so vague. So the process. What I'm saying here, has there been any rule violated? If so, what are that rules? Please.
Yes, there has been a rule violated.
Okay, which rule was violated?
Before you carry out.
No, quote for me the Constitution article or the bylaws.
Okay, hold on.
I'll look for it.
Hold on, Phillip. Let me come.
Okay, 1 minute. We have the Article 6. Let's put it Article 6. So let's read it together.
Hold on, brother. The first thing I want to say to you.
No, we have it already. We're going to put it up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me give you I found it. I'll pull up the Constitution here. So Article 5 talks about the organizational structure of the party, right? And if you go on Article 5, where it says function of the National Advisory Council, let me read that to you. All right. And I'm quoting. All right. In this regard, all right. Let me start from the top. To advise the political leaders, Tenebrae political leader, on all matters pertaining to decisions underpinning the smooth operations of the party. In this regard, the Council of the NAC, the Advisory Council, shall be sought on matters relating to collaboration with other political parties, especially the ruling party. The Council of the NAC shall also be sought prior to the suspension or expulsion of officers or former officers of the party, right? So that's a direct put in the Constitution. Prior to suspension or expulsion, you have to consult the NAC. So that's not a matter of me interpreting anything else. So that's the first one. The second issue with the process has to do with.
Hold on, Phillip. You agree to what he just read, Mr. Gimman? Because
he quoted Article 6. We have it, and I wanted to put it on the screen.
No. He's also trying to establish something that we need to go. Like I said, we want to give him a fair chance to be able to address issues. He's enumerating something very, very simple here. He said that before suspension or expulsions can be taken within the party, the National Advisory Council must be informed, and they will also be able to forward their own suggestion regarding the situation.
No, it didn't say that. It didn't say that.
But it says, I read it here, Jerome. It says the council of the NSC shall also be sought prior to the suspension.
What does that mean? What is different? What is different in that from what I said?
All right. So prior to the suspension or expulsion of officers or former officers of the party. That's strictly in the Constitution. That wasn't done.
Okay, now let's look at Article 6 that
Mr. Gamer, the first question before you go to Article 6 was what he just read, was it in contravention with what he stated? Because you want to brush aside and go to what
no, it's not contravention because it says must consult. It didn't say it didn't mention consent.
Yeah, but there's a big difference. Nobody's saying consent, but yes, you must consult.
Exactly.
Consultation means you need to just talk to them.
No. It says prior to. It says prior to suspension. So the question to you is, was that followed? And the answer is no, it wasn't followed.
The chairman said he did. Now listen to
No.
Now listen.
I think you missed the chairman.
Okay.
Let's read this. The national chairperson shall be the chief administrative officer of the party.
There you go.
Okay. He or she serve as leader and chief representative spokesman of the party in the absence or incapacitation of the standard-bearer political leader, and he or she. So let's go back to this right there. I'll read the rest. Then anyway, Phillip will go ahead and defend himself.
But read A, B, and C.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get now. Before we go anywhere, A, B, and C is contingent on the preamble.
Read A, B, and C.
No, the first thing I want to say, because you want to take things out of context, A, B, and C are only is set because of the preamble that the chair is without contention shall be the chief administrative officer.
There is no contention here. There is no contention. The national chairperson shall be the chief administrative officer of the party.
Yeah, and he or she
serves as the chief representative spokesperson of the party, not the leader.
No, hold on, Mr. Gamer, you will not read it out. He or she serve as leader and chief representative or spokesperson of the party in the absence or incapacitation of the standard-bearer political leader, and he or she shall, when serving, direct and coordinate the affairs of the party in collaboration with the NEC. What does that mean? It's ambiguous. Carry out the mandates of the National Convention and Special Convention, NEC, and he the presiding officer of the National Convention, and be the presiding officer of the National Convention, except as provided for under Article 8, coordinate the activities of the standard bearer and political leader as they relate to the national and county offices and diaspora chapters, call and preside over meetings of the National Executive Council, appoint and supervise junior staff members as may be necessary to carry out his, when you go down, I know it says duty and all of that. So if we go back to it, he shall serve as the chief. So what does that mean, Mr. Gamer? Before Phillip comes in, because you are the one, because you did the same thing with Dylan, and Dylan corrected you. Now we're back again. No, he did. The video is there. He corrected you on these issues. He said White Power was misrepresenting the facts, and he also said to you that White Power was hiding the fact that she is only in Ability's camp, not because of ideology, but because she works for Ability. Go ahead, Mr. Suah.
So, Jerome, so the question, I think the inquiry has been established. There was no consultation with the National Advisory Council prior to any suspension, period. That's a fact. And I don't think Mr. Benedict would say otherwise, that he consulted the NSC. So that's one. Okay. The second portion that's an issue, the accuser in this case, our chairman, right? He's the complainant. He presided over the very meeting that would suspend the person, he's complaining against. That's another tenet of democracy, or that's an issue. The third that I mentioned, the folks who did the investigation, and there's nothing wrong with the people who did the investigation, right? I'm not saying anything about it. They did their job, right, as a committee. But you have people who investigated a case now coming in to be part of the voting block of the case. It's like you're being arrested by the police, right, Jerome? And then the police investigate the case, right? The police present the case in court to the judge, and then the police is a judge. They adjudicate the matter, go through it, and then it's time for the jury to make the decision. And then the police is also on the jury. So that's not a democratic tenet. So there are a lot of structural things that occur along the way that creates a conflict of interest, right? It puts the person who is being accused at a disadvantage. And primarily, if you look at the fact that the Constitution has stated without ambiguity that you must contact or consult with the executive, the advisory council prior to suspension, that wasn't done. That in and of itself casts shadows of doubt. And those are some of the things that we're dealing with in-house. But the reason why we have to speak on some of these things now is because the public is only hearing one side of the story, right?
Okay, Mr. Suah.
Yes.
As the leader or CEO of an organization, my responsibility is the solvency of the organization, for me to run my organization as I see fit.
Mm-hmm.
What role does the political leader play when it comes to the solvency of the organization? We talk about the budgetary matter, how fundraising is done, how the organization is run. Because when I'm running, I submitted a $1.1 million budget to my board of directors for certain line item for this October 1 that started. Mm-hmm. My job is to come out and justify those line items. Mm-hmm. Their job, the leader's job, the board of directors, their job is to give me what I need to run my organization. But like you said, they are different. What is the role of the political leader when it comes to the solvency? Because what we are talking about, it looks like it boils down to the solvency of the party. Where does he come in when it comes to the, like we say, the expense, the budgetary items of it?
That responsibility does not rest on any one individual. Okay, that's a responsibility for all those who call Liberty Party their party. It's not the chairman's responsibility. And I have to give credit to the individuals in our party who have carried the lion's share of the financial contributions, whether it's contributions to the political leader or our national chairman who has made financial sacrifices, right? Not only in this time, but in prior time, he's made financial sacrifices, and we have to appreciate that. I disagree with some people who maybe because of dislike or disagreement with the chairman, who would water down the value of some of those contributions. I don't have to, agree with the chairman to respect the fact that, he's made financial contributions, but a political leader has already also made financial contributions. Other members in the party have made financial contributions to the party. That is all of our responsibility.
Okay, now to cut you, let's read the responsibility of the political leader. See if that position actually does exist. Can you put that definition of the job responsibility up, please? Good. It says here, the standard bearer / political leader. The standard bearer shall be formally elected at the National Convention to serve as the candidate for president of Liberia for the ensuing presidential and general elections. Following the conclusion of the party's primaries, the presidential nominee shall be deemed the standard bearer of the party. During an election year, the standard bearer shall be the leader and chief representative spokesperson of the party. If the standard bearer is elected president of the republic, he or she automatically becomes the political leader of the party and remain as such until after his or her presidential tenure. However, If the standard bearer is not elected president, like the last time when you guys went to the poll, 2017, and lost, the standard bearer position shall cease to exist 90 days immediately after the presidential elections, and the standard bearer shall automatically become the political leader. The NEC, in consultation with the standard bearer political leader, shall formulate policy and procedure to implement the decision of the National Convention, called special sections of the National Convention as provided for in Article 8, and take such other action and proper measures that it may deem as necessary to advance the best interests of the party.
So, Jerome, let me stop you right there. Repost that stuff. Can you repost the stuff? Because this is one of the issues that we had, the last one, the NEC in consultation with the standard bearer political leader. So that is one language that was changed for which we have some of these constitutional issues. Can you go back to what you state on the political leader, please?
Oh, all right.
It should have read the political leader, right? The NEC is not the one that set policies, right? Like I told you, the strategic direction of the party is sourced from the office of the political leader. Once, it doesn't mean the political leader sits in a room by herself and she does that. No. You see, that no one sits in a room and does that. But the political leader is the one who would coordinate the strategic move of the party. Now, that is done in consultation with party stakeholders, including the chairman, including the NEC, including partisans, right? That's part of the engagement process. The political leader goes out to partisans, different groups, engages partisans, and then, depending on the feedback that he or she gets, right, sits and says, look, this is what I think the party is about, and this is the strategic direction of the party based on the consultation. It's not the other way around. And so those are some of the changes that have been made, that have agreed.
Okay, 1 minute, we're gone, almost an hour. Let's take 1 minute for station to identify itself. Mm-hmm. We are here talking about issues pertaining to the Liberty Party. Let's take 1 minute, let the station identify itself.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis John.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia's On Point. Today is Sunday. We are having a great time with our brother, Mr. Phillip Suah, who is representing the Liberty Party. Obviously, with my partner, my co-host, George Tulay, who is actually a Liberty Party partisan, very knowledgeable about the issues of the Liberty Party. And we are here not to grill or to denigrate, but we are here to inform. So out of this, we are hoping
the disclaimer doesn't work, Mr. Gimen.
We are hoping that at some point, Mr. Tulay and Mr. Suah will have some niche in this party to reform, because what we are talking about here doesn't sound like a writing that was done by lawyers, educated folks. So the question here, before we go to our comment, Mr. Suah, from what you're telling me here,
Mr. Gimen, can I be able to ask some questions here? Because
go ahead.
Let's agree with the last statement.
I'm watching you. You're acting as if to say I'm not even a part of this show. I have to always come in and butt in.
Of course, go ahead.
Over to me. You gotta be. You gotta be.
Mr. Tulay, some people will suspect you to have an agenda because you never allow me to talk without butting in. Go ahead.
The issue on the ground here is this. I like to be. You gotta give the man chance. You haven't given Mr. Suah a fair chance to be able to address issues. Okay. Because guess what? You heard something from Wade Power, and for you, whatever comes out of Wade or Musa Ability is law and gospel. You forget to know that Musa is acting. Whatever gives Musa the informs his action, or whatever reliance he has is on a contest. That is the first point that we all need to acknowledge. Okay, what Musa's present role within the party. Forget about what he has done, what he hasn't done. But what gives him the complete control that he asserts today is under contest. So when you want to ask questions, when you want to analyze his actions, analyze it from the point. But let me say another thing before I go to Phillip. The question is this: a party must be an organ that is in harmony. Why is there disharmony within Liberty Party? I will ask that question to Phillip before I will. Maybe I might make, depending on what he says, I might make a comment. Why is there disharmony? Why is it that all of a sudden, because until today, when Zago was there, before Zago, we never heard Liberty Party personal issues, our kitchen issues out in the public like this. We dealt with our issues with a level of cordiality. We dealt with an issue, a level of understanding and respect for due process and for the rule of law. But today, it's like everything has to be contentious and out there with seculars and with letters and with something in the public's glare. My question to you, Mr. Why is there so much disharmony in Liberty Party today? Can you speak freely to the situation?
Yeah, and before I speak freely, Tulay, thank you. I just want to go back to what Jerome posted and just re-echo what I stated. That version of the Constitution that you posted is the very thing that is under contest, right? The political leader is the strategic leader of the party. She sets the vision. What you posted stated the NEC. So that's the altered version of the Constitution that had contest, some contest against it. And the MOU that was signed at the Farmington Hotel changed or made the proper corrections to that. So that's an inaccurate Constitution that you posted. And then also when you stated the Constitution is not put together by people who were educated, that's highly inaccurate. The Constitution is put together well. The fact that it was altered or changed, or there were some, ways of interpreting how it was written, I mean, that's totally different. Where we are as a party, look, we are faced with a position where we have to make a decision, but we can also do so in a way where, yes, there are folks on both sides who may not like the final result, but we can do so as a party. We follow the way our party has been run in the past, which is through consensus. We have a political leader. Yes, our political leader is not in the media all the time. And it's because, mention what Tulay stated, those of us who have been around long enough, we understand that we have to deal with our internal issues inside of our party. Even the means for me to be here on this program, I've never engaged the public or the media in the past in this form because I made all of my points new internally. And I've done so with our current chairman as well. But it's just the persistence of misinformation out there that misrepresents the Liberty Party. It misrepresents the direction of the party. It misrepresents the National Executive Committee. And it gives the illusion that Liberty Party has already gone one way. And like I stated before, if Liberty Party makes a decision to go either way, I'll support it 100% because I don't have issues with any of the clients. I mean the contestants. What I have a problem with is people using the quest for the standard bearership or the presidency of the country to negatively impact our party. There are partisans, people, young men and women who have made tremendous sacrifice for the party. Some of the sacrifices may not be captured in big dollar amounts, but they have sacrificed time. They have sacrificed the opportunity cost of other opportunities that they missed, right, because of their affiliation with Liberty Party. And so that's also sacrifice. That must also be taken into account. We have to make broad efforts across our party to understand what partisans want for our leaders to do. And I think that's what we need to do as opposed to creating different scenarios where it just gives the appearance that, the parties go one way without taking the time to do effective consultation. Like I told you, the activities that occurred on our party headquarters, there was not broad-based consultation. You can't do that. You cannot do that.
we're going to go to comments, then we're going to come back. I got 2 questions for you.
Go ahead.
One is legal. If the Constitution under which Dara's dealing and Yombi Kanga were elected, if it was fraudulent, does that undermine and make
No. Don't ask that question, Mr. Gimmon.
Yes, I'm going to ask that question.
No, Mr.
Who
Gimmon.
said it was fraudulent?
You just told me that it was altered.
No, you're getting it wrong.
He just said it.
Help you. So, you see, Mr. Gimmon, I don't want you to.
Mr. Suah, didn't you say what we just said was altered, that were under contention?
I told you the
language.
That particular segment you read, I told you that was one of the contentions in the Constitution. Doesn't make the Constitution fraudulent. I mean,
you say it was altered.
No, I didn't say the Constitution was fraudulent, right? I said that portion that you showed, right, is one of the segments that needed that were discussed at the Farmington Agreement, for which we now have revisions that will be handled at the executive committee. So there's nobody said the Constitution was fraudulent, So whoever's asking that question, has to take a step back and understand the context of what I stated before making this kind of statement. So I did not state
Mr. Suah, a legal document that was filed, and you are claiming that even if if one letter of a legal document that was filed was changed, that makes that a fraud. You cannot do that, and you know that.
Well, no. They have both parties have come together and have signed an MOU stating, look, there were changes made to the Constitution that should not have been, that was not agreed upon. Okay. So there's
any chance now, Mr. Gimmon.
No, before this now, because we need to go to the comment. All I'm saying
here,
I want you to hold on to that when we come back. So
I understand.
So I want you to address that. And secondly, I just got a press release here from.
But he never let.
I want you to hold on to this when we come back, so he can answer.
No, okay, hold on to your press release. So this is the issue, right? So that aspect of the Constitution has been resolved. Both the political leader and our chairman went to Farmington. They've signed. The chairman acknowledged that the Constitution, as it was originally submitted to the NEC, had some issues, right? There were language in there that were changed. You call it altered, changed, whatever it is. Well, I call it altered. You call it fraudulent, right? It was altered. It was changed. It was different than what was agreed upon, right? That's an agreement. There's no debate about it. The chairman has signed the MOU stating, yeah, that was different than what we agreed upon. So that's not an issue anymore, right? That's not an issue for us. So that is something that will go to the NEC and changes will be made at that level. It doesn't mean the Constitution is fraudulent. We have to be very careful. The same reason why I'm telling you our chairman has to be careful how he leads the party is the same reason those of us, whether it's in the media, someone like myself, we have to be careful how we use certain words, how we carry things out to the public, because it can create scenarios and issues that shouldn't be there in the first place, right? So if the chairman had presented this information to the executive committee in advance, we would have discussed the pros and cons. If the executive committee would have agreed to Mr. Cummings using the party headquarters, we could have framed it for our partisans, right? In a way that it didn't, give a sour taste in the mouths of those who want the vice president. And I'll give you another example. LPUSA had a summit here in the US in August. You know what they did? They sent an invitation to Mr. Cummings, sent an invitation to Honorable Boycott. LPUSA also invited both of them on Zoom. They both presented their cases, one after the other. It was, I think, Mr. Honorable Boycott first. He came, did his presentation, took some questions. The same questions that were asked of the Honorable Vice President was the same question that was asked of Mr. Cummings, because you want to be fair in the process, right? If you go as national chairman and create an environment where you invite another chairman to another political leader to your party without the consultation of your political leader party, that's disrespectful. And remember, Liberty Party has never used our headquarters. We have never used the headquarters. So the first party to use that headquarters was ANC. How does that come across to you?
Okay, let's go to comments so and then we'll come back to that, because I want to go to the press release here. Do we have any comments?
Okay, Peter Corner says, This is you guys. Just show yourself and speak your mind. No need to be hiding yourself. Nobody need liberal corner.
Come on now.
Gilman doesn't know this Wade is feeding him Tabata.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. They say you
I'll go
don't
to
know
the
that you've been fed Tabata. River says pro. In what capacity are you speaking? Musa Belede was on board with the comics event. Oh, please complete your thoughts. Why must the same River says pro? Why must a collaboration vote on the use of a party's headquarters by one of its members? CPP is not Liberty Party. Is it like the DNC and the RNC? This is Ledvi Thomas. The political leader, we understand, is a ceremonial position.
No.
Well, that's Levy Thomas again. Thompson Denshaw said, Mr. Jerome Gilman, what chamber commerce you have served CEO? Chamber, well, it's supposed to what chamber of commerce have you served as CEO? And please note that the managing child daycare is far different from manager political. Okay, he's trying to say that managing a child daycare is different from managing a political institution.
Well, let me give you the information real quick before you go. He wants to know which chamber, the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. You can Google that and you will see it. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, he is not saying this is Levy Thomas again. He's not saying that he violated any laws of the party.
Levy Thompson.
Sorry, Thompson rather. He is not saying he violated any laws of the party. He felt the PL was disrespected.
Okay.
Peter Dan. Why am I calling Thompson Thomas? What sort of leadership style that says don't consult those with leadership role in any organization? That's just
Peter Dan, we didn't say that. We said there's a difference between consult and consent.
No, but he didn't consult.
Huh?
There's no consultation.
Anthony, wait 1 minute. As a part of this conversation, this is my view on this. Why? But I asked Phillip to speak to this. Why is it that we cannot have harmony in Liberty Party? After we read the comments, Phillip, can you speak on these things? Because I don't see why somebody else is coming, his counterpart is not informed, and the chairman is making unilateral decisions without conferring with his who is realistically his boss within the party. Let's read 2 or 3 more comments and then we can go on. Wade Power. Okay, I think this other one again is wrong. It's more knowledgeable than this fellow. That's Riverside Pro. Okay, we agree.
I like Wade too, by the way.
Yeah, go as Muta. Gaiman is not disrespecting the guest, rather helping him to make a justifiable statement. Andrew Daboisin, I think I know this name. Phillip, are you saying that the NAC wasn't consulted regarding Senator Dillon and others?
Correct.
Phillip, it's a question to you.
Yes, correct.
All right. One more. Then we'll go to another. We'll go to some. We'll give Phillip a chance to address
this one from Tevico. Seem as though Gibman came with a preconceived mindset and talking points, although he's been redirected to the facts. Let's hear from Peter Connor. Call Musa and Wade to teach you well, because we know they are the ones giving you notes, but they are not doing you right because they are misleading you, and you will just make a fool of yourself.
Okay, one more. Let's just do one more.
One more. This one from I think this is one of your parties, maybe. Great presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Great presentation, Mr. Chairman. All right, let's go. Okay.
Do we have any calls?
Before we take calls, can we just give him a chance, because this is very, very important. Mm-hmm. And I felt that I wanted us to go this way earlier, but I gave Mr. Gaiman the chance to be able to lead and unburdening himself with some of the things, the burden that he's carrying regarding the Liberty Party. Let's look at something here. Why is there disharmony within the party? Why is there so much disharmony within the party? That is a question to Phillip. Why is there so much disharmony? Why
Yeah.
is
So,
Mhm.
so first, one of the things that we all have to take responsibility for, all of us as Liberty partisans, right? We all have to take some responsibility for what's happening in the party. All right. So I can raise my hand to certain things that maybe I could have done better in my role, certain things I could have pushed. So it's not like I'm just going to point finger at one person and say this person is the sole, problem in our party. But the buck stops right with those who are in leadership, right? So all of us, those of us on the NEC, our political leader, our chairman, we are obligated to lead our party the right way. All right. And along the way, in leading our party, we have some of our partisans who are loyal to one person or, connected to another. Sometimes they run with comments and statements that may offend somebody else on the other side. And then it just rolls downhill because then those comments start going back and forth from one side to another. Now, where we are as a party, we're not at a place where we can get things done the way we're supposed to. We will. We are consulting, we are discussing, we have an advisory council that we are relying on to help bring all of us together. What I disagree with, and I'll state it, and I'll continue to state that, our chairman has to lead differently.
Okay. Before you continue, our listeners out there, you can call us and you can call and be able to contribute to the show. The number is 605-313-6004, and the code is 791-403. 791-403. So you can call right now, and then you'll be allowed to call, to make a point or ask a question or whatever to contribute to the show, interact with the show. Mr. Suah, okay.
Yeah. So,
this is I brought this up regarding why is that disharmony, because can you establish for us what is the Liberty Party way? What is the ethos? Or what are the values we subscribe to as a political entity? Because right now people are saying Liberty Party lacks. Liberty Party is destroyed. We lacked cohesion. We are in the news for all the wrong reasons. Can you speak to this? What is it that we subscribe to as a party? What is the Liberty Party way? The reason I'm asking this question, I'm an adherent to something called the Liberian Dream. It doesn't really exist, but it needs to be carved and established. A Liberian Dream, something that our children can address themselves to, something that our children can identify with. There is something that made me to follow Charles Bronski that I almost lost my life. Okay, so there is something that made me to make the sacrifices. Driving from Southeast Liberia, coming Monrovia 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving Monrovia 6 o'clock in the morning, going to Lofa. The next day, there is a reason why that we did these things, not because of inducement. All right. Yeah. So what is the Liberty Party way before we start taking calls? Or when we get calls, we can get interrupted.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that. I think it's belief in the principles that were put on paper, right? That the vision of Councillor Brumskin for Liberia. Personally, I was captivated by his focus on policies and ideas, right? Because that's what changed. That will change our country. Yes, we want a leader to push those policies and those ideas, but we have to first frame the policies, frame the ideas that will lead our country. That's one of my personal disagreement with the way we are operating as CPP. Our focus had been on selecting an individual to be standard bearer or president of Liberia, but we have not developed, let me step back, we have not presented our ideas to the public where they can see the policies that CPP can do differently. If you even look at where we are now as a country, since CDC took over, do you know the national debt, the public debt in 2018 was 874 million. So how long has the president been in office? A little less than 4 years. We're now at 1.5 billion. That's how much we owe, right? That's how much debt we owe. And this year, the government for the special budget from July to December, I think we've added another, oh boy, I forgot the number, 29 million or 129 million, something of that nature. We've added more debt. So within a span of 4 years, we have increased the debt by 60%, almost 60%, right? From 874 million to 1.5 billion. The amount of money that the government spends annually to service that debt, principal and interest, went from 30 million in 2018 to $49 million this year. That's how much we paid.
Yeah, but Mr. Suah, what does that have to do with the shamble that your party is in?
No. But listen, Jerome, what it has to do is all of this thing with the CPP, and some of what's in our party is taken away from the national debate that's supposed to offer solutions to our people. The folks that are in the market now struggling with daily life, right? They're not interested in, okay, does it matter to them if Honorable Bueka brings solutions or Mr. Cummings brings solutions? No. Where they are now, they're suffering under the CDC government. The $19 million extra that the difference between what we paid in 2018 and what we're paying on the service debt, what could $19 million do for JFK? What could $19 million do for
Mr. Suah, is it the $19 million that has the Liberty Party in disarray and in shambles?
What I'm telling you, Jerome, is the issues that we have within CPP and some of what we have in Liberty Party is distracting from the issues that we should be concerned about. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, but the question is, what is causing the distraction? You are supposed to be providing solution, and you cannot bring solution within your own political party. So you want to talk about a national issue? Why are you in disarray?
Jerome, we have solutions for our internal problems. We're going through that now. We're solving our problems. Remember now, our differences in Liberty Party doesn't make us enemies, right? We're not enemies. You know, Chairman Billiter is our chairman. I communicate with the chairman Billiter, right? I communicate with the political leader, right? So we're not enemies at all. That's not how we do business.
Okay,
what I'm telling you, hold on, Jerome. What I'm telling you is what we are doing takes away from the picture that we're supposed to be presenting to the Liberian people.
Agreed.
That CDC is not the right government.
We agree. You're supposed to bring something to the table.
No. This is what you do, big brother, that is so disingenuous. Whenever someone comes to speak to issues that is emanating from the government, that is the overarching issue, you will intervene. You will
Mr. Tulay, can you read what the topic is today?
No,
can you read, Mr. Suah, can you read the topic?
You were giving the chance to learn, Mr. Gaiman.
Mr. Tulay, can you read what the subject is today?
You were giving chance to learn. Let me say this.
You see the subject here, exclusively on Liberty Party.
We will respect our viewers.
No, but listen, what is the title?
Excuse me, sir. People take their time to come
here. Mr. Tulay, what is the title of our show today?
Yeah, but it's still Liberty Party's perspective, right?
Yes, we are speaking.
No, we say exclusively Liberty Party.
It doesn't matter because you and I know the things that we spoke of before coming here. So please, the issue here is this. As long as there is the lack of cohesion within the CPP or Liberty Party and is placed center stage, no one will be able to cast their eyes above the issue of the brouhaha and look at the overarching issue of what is obtaining our body politic, Liberia. So as a result, people like Mr. Gaiman will continue to amplify something that has already been resolved to a certain extent by a memorandum of understanding being signed by the same Musa Belete man and all the other parties, including Darius Dillon. They all signed a memorandum of understanding because senior heads called them together and say, hey, this is not the Liberty Party way. There is a Liberty Party way, Mr. Gaiman, and let me say to you, it's unique in Liberia. You can't find where we are as a party. There's no replication of it anywhere in Liberia, I'll be honest with you. There's a Liberty Party way. And Musa Benedict knows that there is a Liberty Party way.
Mr. Tulay, Mr. Dillon was on here. Honorable Dillon said, Mr. Gaben, our party basically is in shambles. He said, but give me 2 weeks. You will see a major shift in the political party. That's 2 weeks.
They don't never tell you that the party is in shambles.
He said in 2 weeks.
He never used that word.
He said in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Jerome,
you will see.
Jerome, you are misrepresenting the fact.
Let me complete my thought. No,
go ahead.
So there's the thing, right? So we're taking away from the issues that are meaningful to Liberians, which is trying to see how best we can raise our country from where it's at. At this current path, all right, this government is going to double.
Mr. Suah, Mr. Suah, I want you to read. The title of why you are here.
This Liberty Party.
Team here is exclusive on everything Liberty Party. That's why
exactly. So this Liberty Party and Liberty Party perspective is also exclusive. So I'm giving you Liberty Party's perspective now, and the perspective is if we allow this government to continue, they would have doubled our debt by the time this president finishes office. I'm giving Liberty Party perspective.
We're not asking for Liberty Party perspective. We're talking about what is wrong with Liberty Party.
And what is the solution? If you don't give the man the chance to land and you want to make his points, you keep interrupting, you keep butting in. It's not landing.
He's swaying. Go ahead, Mr. Suah. I see you sweating. I see you sweating.
No, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I'm not sweating. So, but there's an issue, right, Jerome?
You've been disruptive.
Hold on, go ahead, man. Don't listen to me.
Hold on, Phillip.
Mr. Suah, go ahead. Take your time. Go ahead, my friend.
Thank you very much. So, there's an issue. There's a Liberty Party issue. This is what we have. Like Tulay said, historically, that has been our posture. All right. We were trained to study, to read, to understand policies, see what other people are doing in different countries, and see how best we can make recommendations. The current path, the current trajectory of this government, right, puts us at a big disadvantage. Giving Honorable Weah, and I don't look, I'll come to Mr. Weah because I admire certain things about him from his past. So I'm not anti Mr. Weah either. That's not my point. The issue here is the level at which we're borrowing in a short period of time, from $874 million in 2018, and we're not even in 2022 yet. We're at $1.5 billion in debt. Who's going to pay for it? Your grandchildren, my grandchildren, and future people are going to pay for that debt. We're servicing the debt now every year, $49 million, right? From in 2018 it was 30 million. That's what we're paying to service the debt, principal and interest. That's jumped to 49 million. I give you that example. If you look at our budget, how much are we spending on agriculture? Right? 2.4 million for a country that wants to feed itself. That gets us nowhere. You can resurrect Nelson Mandela and whoever, and even Einstein. If he operates on a $2.4 million budget for agriculture, you're not going to self-sustain our country no time soon, right? So, and you look at even like our recurring expenses, all right? The money we're spending every year, just recurring, 89% of our budget is recurring expenses. That's the CDC government. That's the reason why we have to draw a stark line between what this administration has been doing, which is creating an illusion that everything is okay. But the people who are experiencing a hardship understand that times are difficult. Yes, inflation, the inflation I think is at 7%, and that slowed down to 7%. People are struggling because you have issues with the exchange rates. You have global pressures on what we valued in the past, which is our exports, right? That have been impacted. The prices on the global market. Some of it is recovering now. So those are things that put stress on the economy. What the government has in its control is on the expenditure side of the budget. Even if you cannot control the revenue as much as you can, you have control over your expenses. The budget that the government presents, if it continues this way, we're going nowhere. I don't care how we admire our president or what he did on the football field. You know, that's not going to change, anything in our country.
Mr.
People will continue to suffer.
Mr. Suah.
Yeah,
we got 20 more minutes.
Okay, I used to go ahead.
You have done an exceptionally great job representing your party for defending something that is indefensible. as we speak today, you have not told me as a political party that deemed itself government in waiting, you have the solutions. You will reconcile.
That's the CPP you're talking about.
Excuse me.
That's the CPP.
Is the Liberty Party part of the CPP?
No, but the CPP, the Liberty Party government waiting. You misrepresent the fact again.
Is the Liberty Party part of the CPP?
All right, go ahead, Jerome.
Okay, now listen to this. Let's be honest here. Do you agree that some of these wounds are self-inflicted? And I'm going to say that I'm going to mention two. One, Rodney Sieh accused Mr. Dillon. He said Dillon is a pathological liar, and he will continue to lie. And this has cast a cloud over your party. Now, today, Mr. Snow just put out a press release, and they just sent it to me a few minutes ago. And in the press release, he says, the problem with Darius Dillon and Yombli Kanga is that they are pathological liars. They have no clue of the issues. They talk from the top of their head. They have no skills. So aren't your leadership in your party have created this cloud of incompetence, of disloyalty, of lying, and you cannot reconcile your own political party?
To whom? Phillip, hold on, Phillip, because you're my guest. We invited you here. I won't let Mr. Gibman just badger you with all kinds of things that are not germane to the issues we had. Dillon Yombli.
Character counts. Character counts.
The disloyalty to whom?
Character counts.
I'm asking you a question.
Character counts.
Yombli and Dillon. When Dillon said
character counts.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. So Phillip, hold on. You come in. Which one of your people in your government? Because you want to bring in people like Snow, writing and talking off the top of his head. Does Snow have any credibility that he will call Dillon liar for you myself?
Mr. Suah.
So no.
One minute, Mr. Suah.
Just Suah is out of here.
Do you consider Dillon a maverick in your party?
No. Listen. Does
I'm talking about
Suah have
Mr. Suah.
any credibility
Mr. Suah.
that you are mentioning his name on our show?
Mr. Suah.
What did he say? So let me answer. So first off, look, Jerome, you can't quote. You just listen to your own program. Someone was stating comments here that you disagree with, right? You cannot come with statements just because someone posted on Facebook. That's the fact, right? Because you can get people to post anything on Facebook about Jerome. No, that's a fact. Because you just stated something that two individuals stated. How does that define the character of Senator Lawrence? This lady has been a senator since 2011, right? She came into the Senate. She has conducted herself with excellence throughout her career, right? Not perfect individual, because no one can claim perfection, but she has demonstrated excellence in leadership, right? Starting from what she's been doing in Grand Bassa, she took on the mobile health clinic in Grand Bassa. That's something she's done outside of outside of political seasons. She's carried out her foundation. She's done work in Bassa. She has done work for some of the students through the SPEED program. She has done work for some of the students in STEM, brought some of them to America 3 years in a row in the robotics program. And some of those kids from Bassa have already won at the level here, the competitive levels here in the country. She has sponsored programs for women.
Mr. Suah.
Mr.
Suah. Just listen.
Let's not interrupt.
Those are personal things from her private foundation. How many bills has she passed? How many bills has she introduced? That is a collective that affect, because she's not only senator for Grand Bassa County.
Of course.
She's senator for the country. Name me a
for
bill
Bassa.
for substance.
No, she's not on Grand Bassa County.
She is the senator for the country.
No.
Laws should make affect the country. Name me a bill that have been passed by this senator.
Mr.
Name me one bill.
Mr. Gibman, this is what
I'm talking about Mr. Suah. Mr. Suah, name me one bill that Yombli Kanga has passed. One bill.
You're being argumentative. You ask the questions. You ask
you're
the
the host.
I'm asking the chair. I'm asking the man who's sitting in the seat to give me a bill that was passed.
We are not
She going on her 12th, 14th, I think her 14th year. Give me the amount of bills she has passed.
Jerome, you're speaking to the character. What you've done, you've taken comments from people and said,
Mr. Suah,
hold on
give me the bills that she has passed. The bill that she has passed.
Jerome, we got 20 minutes though. We can go back and forth.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Listen.
Give me a chance. We can go back all day.
We got 5 minutes remaining. Give me the bill she has passed.
Phillip, can you hold on some more, Mr. Gilman? When you do this, you minus from our show.
Correct.
No.
Because when we bring someone here, the person wants to address the issue. It's not only what you want to hear.
Correct.
You see, my problem with you is this. You take words from people like Wade Power, who we just proved to you on Sunday that she didn't give you the disclaimer. She didn't establish the fact that, for me, like I come and say to the viewers out there, that Liberty Party is in my blood. Okay? My political DNA is Liberty Party. It's in my blood. I don't hide it, but I believe in Liberia. So,
Tulay.
Okay, no, hold on, Mr. Gilman. Hold on, Mr. Gilman. Hold on, Mr. Gilman. Be patient. No. The man was speaking. What you need to do is to give the man chance to come and exhaust himself.
Mr. Suah, before you do your closing, just give me the bill that was passed by Kanga in the house.
Like that. This is what I'm telling you. What you've done is you brought individual comments, unsubstantiated comments, and you present those to define.
Just give me the bill that was passed by
No, see, we're not going that route. You presented things that were unsubstantiated, right? You did not validate, right? You just went on Facebook or wherever you saw the post. You took it. Look, this person says this. That's not how you do the show. You must be able to validate.
Suah,
hold on now.
Mr. Suah, just give me the bill that was passed by
You're not going to direct this
for the 14 years you've been in the house.
Let's deal with what we're saying, and then I'll let you know, right? What I'm trying to say. You can't take unsubstantiated claims. This is the reason why we have issues in our country, right? No, hold on, Jerome. Is we don't take the time to validate information. We run on misinformation, and we kneecap other people's reputation because it sounds like, oh yeah, this is true. There are people on Facebook who will write things about you who you would say is untrue. What if I came here with those comments and said, well, so-and-so person wrote this about Jerome Gaiman, so all of a sudden I'm presenting it to the public. That's misinformation. You don't do that. You must first take the time to understand the scenario that you're presenting.
Can you please give me the bill
and I'm telling you,
this is not where we're going. We're talking about Liberty Party. It's not Yumbi Kanga.
Yumbi Kanga is part of the Liberty Party.
We are not talking about Yumbi Kanga's senatorial job here or her achievement.
We got a caller.
We have a senator for Liberia. The senator for Grand Bassa.
We have a caller.
Okay, we have a caller. We have a caller. Stop, Mr. Gilman. This is beneath us. Let's elevate the discourse, please.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Mr. Suah. This is Jerome, AD, calling from Wisconsin. Can you please elaborate on the? I'm a little bit confused about the chairmanship of your party and the political leader, because here in the United States, I know the chair of the Democratic or the Republican National Convention or party, they speak on political issues. So I take them as a political leader, but now people are saying that the political leader of the Liberty Party is different from the chair. The chairman does not speak on political issues. So I'm a little bit confused. Can you just elaborate on the role of the chairman as compared to that of the political leader?
Thank you, caller. So I did not state that the chairman cannot make political statements. The chairman can make political statements when it comes from the chairman. My contention with the chairman was, I've seen his statements at some publications that he would put out there to the public, and at the bottom he would say, or even in the body of the message, he would say the National Executive Committee. So if he's putting his personal points of view out there, he can do that as chairman of our party, but he cannot carry the name of the National Executive Committee without the express consultation or expressed or written confirmation from the Executive Committee. You have to engage the Executive Committee. And a majority of the executive committee has to lean into whatever it is that you're presenting before you can carry the name of the executive committee. That was my contention. Now, your reference to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party here. In this context in America, so the caller can understand, the leader of the party will be whoever the party is promoting as the presidential candidate, right? So you have the chair of the conventions, the Democrat or the Republican, but you also have the leader of the party being, in this case, for the Democrats, the president of the country, and the Republican will select whoever they're going to select to run. That person becomes, quote unquote, the political leader. It doesn't stop the chairman from making statements, but if the chairman of the RNC makes a statement in his or her name, that's a different thing than making a statement in the name of the RNC or in the name of whatever their committee is. So that's the distinction. So I'm not opposed to the chairman. The chairman he's my chairman. He's the leader of our party, the leader of the NEC, and so he can make statements. But in order to reference the NEC, he must have brought those comments to the NEC to deliberate on before he can carry the NEC's source.
Okay, Mr. Suah, we have running out of time. I think we got notification here that the next show starts, I guess, in 10 or 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
I know you didn't answer the question about the bill has been passed by Nyobli Kanga, but anyhow, go ahead with your closing statement.
No, it's not his closing statement. I've got a question to ask. I have something for him to speak to before we leave. It's not closing statement. We still got like 5-6 minutes, so he can still speak, and then we can close. Phillip, one of the things I wanted you to talk about I'm very sure our viewers, what is the way forward Liberty Party? Is there any opportunity for resolution of the ongoing disputes, disagreements, and you think we have, because I'm a member, even though I have not been central to the party for some years. But my concern has been, is there a way forward? I mean,
I mean, there's consultation going on behind the scene. I mean, it's not, like I mentioned earlier, we don't have enemies within our party. We have disagreements on how we proceed, right? So the chairman and the political leader, the advisory council, the national executive committee, we're all going to work together. We have to work together to plot a path forward. It's my understanding that we are going to have something of a retreat somewhere in the future to kind of have some of these discussions, right, on how we're going to make those decisions. Personally, one of my recommendations in the past had been let's gather information on the two candidates, right, in the 5 most populated counties. That would give us some objective data on what Liberians are saying. So that was presented to the chairman. I spoke with the chairman months ago, long before we even had an issue, because I was looking forward to, hey, maybe this might end up in a place where we really don't know, how we gonna make that decision as a party. But there's cost associated with that, and so I'm not sure if that will be in our calculus going forward. But that's another option. Let's see how the two candidates stand in the 5 most populated counties. Because personally, my position has always been, the person who has the easiest chance, or who has the most ability to defeat the CDC government, is the person we should select. Because in my mind, you wake me up any time of the night, I would choose a President Cummings or a President Boyka or a President Weah. And I don't disrespect. I'm not saying so disrespectfully. I think President Weah, when he played professionally, did well for our country. He inspired me. I mean, I lived in Liberia during the war, and I followed him. He was an inspiration. I don't question his love for Liberia, because he has demonstrated his love in the past when he had an opportunity, whether he spent money financially or he used his prowess on the field to shed light on Liberia. Those are all positive. We can never take that away from the president, President Weah, right? I don't question that. What I question is his ability to lead us out of where we are as a country. If Liberia was a country that was already set, where we have all the framework in place, all the foundations in place, and you create a leader who is there to lead the country, but the structures are in place to gird up the leader, who knows, he could have done better. But Liberia right now needs someone who would get us out of problems. Right now we're borrowing, like I said earlier, at a rate that's not sustainable. And it's not like we're even taking this debt to develop the human resources. We're not. If you look at what happened in Singapore, right, back in the 60s, they took their resources, as meager as it were, right, and then invested in their people, right? Singapore now is about 97% literacy rate in their country. They leveraged their time zone, right, because they were midway between the Western worlds, and now they're a financial hub. While some in the West are asleep, Singapore is operating. But that cannot be done in the absence of developing the workforce. One advantage that we have in Liberia is we speak English. That's an advantage. If we had a government that had credibility in the international market, could we come out here and attract businesses that can do customer service?
Okay, Mr. Suah, you know why? You know why I'm laughing now? This is where we should have gone with our conversation when Mr. Gibman is focused on
Listen to this. Let him land so we can close.
Let me land. Thank you.
He's here to talk about Liberty Party. Now we're not to talk about the economy or the politics. We're here to talk about Liberty Party.
So let me land.
We will give the man the chance to come again.
He was talking until you stop him.
Yeah, let me land. So this is the thing. So we have an advantage. We're English-speaking country. If you pick up the phone here, most of your credit cards or other businesses, you go into India, you go into Australia, some other country, or even the Philippines. They speak English with an accent, right? Liberians can develop. If we invest in our people, we can speak standard English, right? To compete for some of those things. But you need credibility. You need infrastructure in the country that will allow people to trust that, you know, your LEC won't carry light when someone is calling your call center network. So that's an advantage we have. We don't leverage it, right? You look at what we have with some of our people here in America. A lot of people want to go home, want to build homes. What environment are we creating so that some of these can happen? These are some of the things that Labor Party have experimented with. We have programs here in America. FDIC insures loans, right? For people who are buying homes here up to a certain amount, right? If you have a government of credibility, could we create programs here where the government can come and create some sort of a surety bond with some of these financial institutions so that Jerome can get a loan from America and his house can be ready in 90 days, right? Because the government has the structures. It's not like government run. Private entities will run it, but the government has created an environment where Jerome can get a loan here for 100 grand and his home can be ready. He can make his mortgage payment from America. Those are all Liberty Party things that, you know, we can carry towards the national level. People can. ANC has smart people.
Phillip, we are out of time. You know, we want to respect our parents.
Okay.
We got 1 minute to close.
Hold on, Mr. Gibman. Only one all can do it at a time. You see, you're getting old and troublesome. You need to be able to relax. Yeah, you know.
Give the man 1 minute to close.
You know,
the man is my guest. I'd like to give him 1 minute to close.
The man let me close.
Go ahead. You got 1 minute.
I will definitely invite you again, and I will make sure that he doesn't bring out street gossip, you know, to validate his points. That he will base his points on facts. Mr. Suah, can you close, please?
Yes, I'll get 30 seconds. I'll close. So in all, Liberty Party will solve our problems. I have confidence in the political leader to work with our chairman. I have confidence in her ability to lead our party. I believe that partisans all across should refrain from, you know, some of what we've seen on social media, whether it's insulting the chairman, you know, or insulting the political leader. That's not necessary. We can solve our problems in a structured way, right? These leaders need to communicate with us. We need to work between the advisory council, the executive committee, the chairman, and the political leader. We can solve our problems. We will not allow other parties who aren't members of, you know, people who aren't members of Liberty Party to ruin our party, whether it be from the Unity Party side or the ANC side. You know, so again, you know, Liberty Party will continue to be the party of ideas. You know what Senator Dillon has been doing in the Senate before I close, right? Basic things like mental health, right? Where he pushed for, I think, 30 grand to go towards mental health. Those are ideas, right? That put forward. I'm told the political leader has put an issue on the Senate floor with regards to the ritualistic killing. So that's a discussion that's coming out. I'm also told that Dillon and the CPP, they're putting things for budget performance review on the Senate. So there are a host of things that they've done But most of those things are overshadowed by the issues of who becomes president or who's not, or who's standard bearer. And if you put carbon dioxide in an oxygen environment, it takes what? The carbon dioxide pulls out the oxygen. And that's what we're doing when we talk always about the issues and not within CPP or who becomes standard bearer, and not on the substantive thing that some of these legislators are doing. Jerome is mentioning what did Senator Lawrence do in the Senate. If he was paying attention to what our legislators are doing, he will be asking that question, because Senator Lawrence has done well in the Senate. She has put forth a lot of different measures. I'm not going to recall all of them. She's been there 11 years, right? But she put forth a lot of things in the Senate that she's pushed through. You look at what even Dillon has done the short time he's been here. He's put forth a few things in the Senate in his very short period of time that he can catalog. So those are the things that we need to look at and not just focus on the negatives. Because look, the negatives don't benefit the ordinary Liberian. It doesn't. Whether it's against the president, we are, or whatever, what benefits Liberians are the policies and the ideas that will bring jobs, that will elevate educational skills, that will create the technical ability for people to innovate, right? You have cell phones. People have cell phones. People can innovate on cell phones, right? Those are the type of things that if you're going to take loans, invest in your people. Don't take loans to go travel to foreign countries and speak to an Int'l, right? When you could have done it remotely. So different things that we could do better. And it's nothing wrong with criticizing the government. It doesn't mean you're enemies. It just means you need to speak to the issues that are bothering the ordinary Liberian. So I'm appreciative of the time. Thank you, Jerome. I know you asked some questions. You were cutting me up. I appreciate you taking the time. And thank you, Tulay, for bringing me in as well.
Thank you. Tulay?
All right, Phillip, we want to say thanks for being here, and also specifically to our viewers out there. You guys have been the reason why we are here, the reason why we do this show every Sunday, or coming on other shows also. It's because of you, that we have the opportunity to speak. You guys, we really want to appreciate our listeners and our viewers out there, because you guys make us, if you don't tune in, there's no need for me to be here. It's because you give me the ability to speak into your life and to speak to issues that are very important and to be able to, advance germane solutions and ideas. And one thing I would say, Mr. Gaiman is a sedition. He doesn't hide it. I am a Liberty Party member. I don't hide it. But I believe in fairness and objectivity. And sometimes I may not be, and I'm sorry for when I'm not, because I'm a human being. The best man is still a man at his best. But what I will always say is I believe in fairness and respect. So we want to say thank you, Phillip, for showing up today. And we want to say thanks to all our listeners and our viewers out there for tuning in. We really appreciate you. We say thank you. And to Dennis and Anthony, we want to say thanks. So, Mr. Gaiman, that's my closing statement. You go, you can take it from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Suah. You are a great representative of your party.
Thank you.
You presented the issues. You defended some of the indefensible, but you did an exceptional job. One of the things, we have to be very honest with each other. We have to be fair. And like you said, we have to hold our leaders accountable when they are wrong. We are not looking for perfect leadership. We are looking for excellence. Okay? And this is what we are talking about. And I'm from Grand Bassa County. And I see you struggle to give me, let's say, bill number H222 that nobody can get prefer, that passed, that had an impact. You struggle. So she never done it in 11 going on 12 years. She have not done that. We know that. Listen to this. As an organization that, or a club or organization or government in waiting, whatever you call it, we expect that you are coming to replace a government that is not doing well. In so doing, you are coming with your organization, you're coming with your uniqueness. But it shows that the Liberty Party is not organized. The Liberty Party is in shambles. The Liberty Party is in fight. It has a fight in itself.
We don't even exist.
It cannot.
Can we go now? We don't even exist, Mr. Goodman.
Listen to this.
Ellen Johnson is not even a resident of the Liberty Party.
Ellen Johnson said,
I help you.
Very similar to what you said. In 2005, she said, Liberia is not poor. Liberia is run poorly. And I am coming in with my expertise, and we're going to turn things around. I'm hearing you saying the same thing here, that the Liberty Party and the CPP has the ability to run Liberia in an effective way.
Better than
President Weah, that is doing an excellent job.
No, he's not.
And doing an exceptional job.
With
the proper agenda.
What?
And I'm telling you, the proper agenda is going to extend. It's going to carry us into the 21st century. 2024, Liberia will be at another level. 2024.
No, what's about now? What's about now?
Mr. Suah, come on back. Come on back someday.
Thank you.
have done an exceptional job.
No, you didn't do a job.
Come here, take my spot and be a co-host and get rid of this guy. Mr. Tulay, thank you very much. As always, you have always been very active, very objective in your deliberations. Let's bring more people on. Like I've always said.
No,
if you don't like,
excuse me. Yeah. Until you can sign a memorandum of understanding that you will behave yourself when I invite my guests in here. I will invite any other person until you establish an undertaking that you will behave. Because what you are doing is wrong.
You see, you're calling me an undertaker now. You're calling me the undertaker now.
Yeah, no, you will sign an undertaking. You will sign an undertaking that I will behave myself in an appropriate way. I will ask fair questions. I will not bring petty street gossip to the discourse.
Mr. Suah, thank you very much for coming. Mr. Tulay, thank you very much for the spirited debate. It was educational. You educated me a lot about calmness, about the capability within the party. Hopefully, a calmer head can prevail. And we are a Liberian, no matter how you look at it. We love our country. We do all we can. Behind the scene, we may argue, but we are all Liberians. So we go our eyes, whether you are opposition, imposition, leadership, we are all Liberian. And we'll see you next Sunday. Hopefully, we'll have somebody from the CDC on the hot seat.
They won't come.
I
dare them.
They will come.
Because I won't bring street gossip. I would just bring facts.
Mr. Suah,
ideology and
Mr. Suah,
the current.
Will you be willing to debate your counterpart from the
day?
Okay, let's make that happen.
Since we haven't been turned off, let me say this, Mr.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberian.